All right. Welcome to week 11. I do apologize for the last minute schedule change. We had a family transportation issue that I had to cover. So, thank you for being flexible. I will try to get things moving as quickly as possible tonight and keep us moving along so that hopefully we don't end up having to stay any later than we would have. But thank you for that. Um, so tonight the main thing is going to be to get beta testing done for games. The main point of this and the reason that we do it is to give you more information. In that idea of prototyping and iterating and developing something, the more feedback you can get from the more different users in different situations, then it just helps your final product be that much stronger. So we've always liked to get in 3 or 4 weeks before the projects actually due, to give a chance to actually have these things played as much as possible. So as we talked about last time, obviously when everyone was in person, it was easy. We just threw the game out there and had people play it. Things will be a little bit different this week. I did hear from a couple of groups in terms of sort of what your idea about your beta testing is tonight. So as we get to each group, just let me know, let the rest of the class know kind of what you want to do. If there's something specific you want to get in terms of feedback, then just make sure that people are aware of that so they can kind of keep their eye on that particular aspect of the game. We do not need to necessarily play full games tonight. The expectation is not that the games are finished at this point. So it would be basically just running through whatever condition the games are in at this point, just to get that layer of feedback. And then hopefully that'll be useful for your groups as you start to move into the final phase of cleaning up the games and getting them ready for submission. But before we get to that, I do want to just ask a scheduling question, just looking forward. So next week there is no class. There's no expectation for class. It's not online. It's not offline. That is our spring break week for many of us here, at least in Connecticut. Most of the public schools are off next week, so that's why I tried to schedule it for next week. The week following, which is the 12th week of the course, is one of the only 2 weeks in the program where both my 5:30 class and my 5:20 class are meeting in the same week. And I knew that going into this, that was set up that way. As I'm looking at where both the classes are and what activities both classes are engaged in, I guess I kind of have three possibilities to throw in front of you. And I'd be interested in your feedback in terms of what would make the most sense for you, or what would be possible for you. So option number one is we just leave things the way they are. So in 2 weeks, those of you who are in both classes would attend a class on Tuesday night and would also attend a class on Wednesday night. So we can just leave things the way they are. That week would be the week that we present our gamification projects. In the other class, we are doing the beta testing of the Moodles that week. So those are sort of the two activities. So option one, we just leave things alone. It is what it is. We have back-to-back classes the 2 nights. Option number two, because so many of you are actually in both classes, and I was looking through the rosters, I think there's only 3 of you, Shko, April, and Judith, who are only in tonight's class. So option 2 would probably mostly affect those 3 people. But option 2 is I could probably combine both of the classes into Tuesday night. I don't think either of the classes are going to need nearly the full 2 hours or whatever we're given for a time slot. So we could potentially say the first hour would be my normal 5:30 EDT 5:30 class, and then 520 would meet sort of as the second half of that. So the three of you who are not in that other class would just join the class at that time, and those of you who are in both would just stay on. It makes for a little bit of a longer night, and I won't lie, I then actually have another class after that one, and a couple of the students in the 530 class do as well. But if that is better in terms of not having people have to commit to 2 nights, but it would be Tuesday night, because if I go the other direction, there's 5 or 6 in the other class that aren't part of this class, so that would be a bigger deal. So option 2, we combine both classes into Tuesday night. Option 3 would be that we simply push back what we were going to do week 12, which was present our gamification projects, and we pushed that back to week 13, which would mean that week 12, we would not have an online meeting. That week would be basically just turned over to groups to be working on their games to meet as they see fit. So the week after spring break, I would meet with 530, not with this class, and then a week later, we would meet, which originally was not going to be a week that we met, but I would just push that back a week. That would give everybody one more week to complete the gamification projects, if that's a factor. So and it would also mean, once again, we would not have back 2 classes in 1 week. So I am open to any of those 3 options. Either things are fine the way they are, let's push everything into 1 night, or let's push this class back a week and get an extra week for gamification, and then just have the 1 class per week going that way. So thoughts? Anybody want to jump in and voice support for one of the 3 of those options?
I'd be okay with option 3.
Pushing back the gamification a week?
Yeah, and then just doing the 1 class a week.
Okay. Others, I see a thumbs up from Shko. I see other thumbs up. I see a lot of thumbs up. I see some people who are kind of nodding a little bit, but all right. Does anybody want to make a strong case for either of the other 2 options? Doesn't look like it. Okay. I'm totally fine with that. Like I said, at this point, in terms of our instructional time together, basically from here on out, it's completing the 2 projects. So there was nothing sacred about having the gamification projects done that 12th week. We had already pushed it back by flipping it with this week's activity. So I'm totally okay pushing that back another week. So what that would mean is, for those of you in both classes, we would only meet 5:30 in week 12, no meeting for this class. And then the week following, which is week number 13 in the Moodle, we would meet, which we originally wouldn't have, but that will be the week that we present the gamification projects. All right, does that sound good to everyone? Okay, I will, yeah, Christy, you have a question?
Yeah, so just to confirm then, we're not submitting or finishing our gamification project until the 28th if we need the extra time. That would be when it's due instead of the 21st, I believe.
Yeah, whatever a week later is. I don't have a calendar right in front of me, but yeah, if we're the 7th now, 14th is, yeah, because 14th would be next week, spring break. 21st is the week now where we won't meet, so it would be the 28th would be when we do the presentations. And I know, because a lot of you are going to be using maybe students as part of that project, and with spring break taking up next week, maybe having an extra week where you're with your students might give you a little more time to put that plan into action and get that wrapped up. So that is what we will do. We will take option 3, door number 3. We will just push back gamification a week, and that will then mean that the week after spring break, there won't be anything official from me. The instruction will just be to use that week to work with your groups to do whatever you need to do towards finishing up your game projects. So, all right, good. So that was the main order of business for the night. was getting that, or not for the night, but in terms of figuring things out going forward. So let's, without further ado, just jump into the beta testing. Let me start by unsharing this, because I know some groups are going to want to share their screens with the class. It does not matter to me what group goes in what order. We have the groups I heard from. There was one group that was basically just going to share out the link to their Scratch project, give people time to kind of go through it on their own, and then come back together and just kind of get feedback from everybody. Another group was going to do a little pre-explanation about, I believe, logarithms, in case those of us who never took that in class don't know what logarithms are, myself included. And then do a couple of rounds of play with some volunteers while everyone else watches, and then get some feedback after that. I don't know from the other two groups what the general plans were, but if there's a group that wants to jump in and just kind of get the ball rolling, I'm more than willing to open it up to that. Nobody wants to be the first ones. Oh, I saw a hand go up. All right, so Wayne, you are part of group 2.